Nah, horse, you're not listening to me. Hector is going to be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines. And on top of that, he's just been at Harry's and he's ordered 3 T66 turbos with NOS and a Motec exhaust system. We need to come up with a play. Aha, yes, g'day. Welcome back to another episode of Hop's Chop Shop. Where today we're going to be looking at the trusty steed. The daily, well, used to be daily, now is parts hauler slash stance machine slash just a general pain in the ass to really drive anywhere. But yeah, there's quite a few people that perked up and said they'd be quite keen to see a vid. Well, there was 2 actually, but a lot of people said they would be keen on the next episode, which naturally there's not really much else to film with the red car. Yeah, still waiting on parts for that bad boy. Yeah, before we get into the premiere though, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone for getting in touch and reaching out about how stoked they were on the first episode. I didn't really expect much to come from it. I was a bit of a piss take, to be honest. Well, the intro was obviously, but yeah, it was just, yeah, blown away. I just sort of thought I'd film some stuff and have a bit of a yarn, and apparently there's a few people that made it to the end even, so bit of a win there. Let's see if we can keep the momentum going, eh? Get into it. Yeah, so here she is. Whoa, look at it. Look at those sleek lines. Looks like it's just screaming to sledge around a roundabout. Yeah, it's a 1997, obviously P11 Primera wagon of the SR20VE variant. They did come manual somewhere in the world, I believe, with the SR20VE motor. Did come manual, but not in New Zealand, which is quite a shame. But yeah, really common for these to be manual converted, and luckily I got this one already manual converted. And after recently changing a clutch on it, I'm quite glad about it, because what an absolute debacle of a job that is. I think it's just these particular front wheel drive cars that seem to have a fair bit going on. You effectively have to take like half the engine mounts out and sort of suspend the motor while you take all the cross members and other bits and pieces out. Apparently Hondas are easier, I don't know, don't really care. Yeah, so as you can tell, she is fairly on its guts. It's on 17x9 Driftex all round, and it now features the full Ortec kit, which was quite a mission in itself, trying to track a complete one of them down. I ended up getting ripped off like a front and rear bumper from some top-notch geezer in the Pukekohe region. Yeah, if you're watching this, bud, I'd like my money back. Chances of that happening, pretty slim. But yeah, it's also on BC Gold adjusties, which there's still heaps of room to go down on the front. But I think this is pretty much good enough for a car that I sort of do drive around on the weekends a little bit. It sort of just turned into like a car to make it, I don't know, make it look cool kind of thing. Like I don't drive it much. It's really shit to drive on the road now. Long drives, terrible. Yeah, and just general trying to get in and out of supermarkets and places like that. Bit of a dog's breakfast, but I don't really care. It's all good. It's fun to make it look cool and play around with a car that doesn't really owe me a hell of a lot. I have done something a bit funky with the exhaust, because it's got a tow bar which I like to retain for those dinghy trips. To bypass that with it being so low, I just got a mate to sort of weld up a sort of a 90-degree angle, I guess you'd call that, and it sort of comes straight out. And yeah, obviously no muffler, so I'm not sure if someone's put an exhaust on it or not, but it seems bigger than normal. like I think it's a 2.5 inch with 2 resonators in the middle, and then yeah, it's just straight pipe out the back. So yeah, it makes a bit of a noise. 100 k's is, yeah, grueling to say the least. But yeah, not really. As I said, don't really care about that. It's just a bit of a, turned into a bit of a hack now. Yeah, I'm not really too phased as long as I can go get my parts and cruise around on the weekend to do caches and get parts for that bloody disobedient child. Not too stressed, but there are a few cool things that I've done to it, which you probably don't see very often in these cars. And the first would probably be the seats. They are GDST Skyline seats. They sit a hell of a lot lower. Those of you that know or you've been in a Primera before, the factory seats are terrible. You feel like you're sitting on top of something and you're really high, and they're just kind of shit, I thought. But yeah, so I had these. I actually got these off a mate, and I sort of cut and welded the tabs up to make them fit. I thought they were going to fit sweet as, because I was like, oh yeah, they'll probably go. You know, Nissans, they're all the same. But they were miles off. So yeah, not really that legal, but I've still got the other seats that I can chuck back in for WAS. It's got a Trust Grex gear knob there that came in a 32 parts car that I got a while ago. Slapped that on. In the back, oh yeah, there's probably not much to say about the back. This back seats are pretty much always down. Oh look, there's even a bin of RB parts. What do you know? Yeah, we'll pop the bonnet, have a gaze. There are a few little funky things that I've done under here that kind of make it cool, I guess. And the first being, I'll just try to get that with one hand. The first being the headers. They are P11 headers that I got for pretty much next to nothing. And yeah, they are a hell of a lot bigger than the factory ones, and even bigger than the aftermarket ones that I had on there beforehand. I'm not actually sure if it has any performance gains or not. I mean, I'm sure it does. Whether you can feel it or not is a different story. But yeah, the common problem that I found with these things is that no one ever has the secondaries, because it's kind of like a one-piece thing. I don't know, I haven't even seen one in person, but apparently it's like a one-piece secondaries that sort of just connects up with the exhaust and then carries on. Not really sure, but the good thing though is that they do have a massive collector on the bottom. I don't know if you can really see that down there. I'll try to get under it. But they sort of just have like a massive collector there, which is a 3-inch, would you believe it or not. So yeah, you just pretty much weld on a flange like I did, and then I just made my own secondaries, which was a 3-inch pipe, and then down to a reducer, 2.5-inch reducer, which into a 2.5-inch flange, into a flexi, and and yeah, it actually seems to work pretty good. It obviously sits, as you probably just saw, it sits really low, which is definitely the lowest part of the car now. It looks like I've actually recently might have run over a bird. Looks like some feathers or something. Not really sure, you don't have to be that far off the ground to sort of get collected. Oh, excuse the pun. Collected by that. But yeah, up for the top end here, this is all pretty dog shit. This was all just mucking around with trying to get the sound of it different. I do have all the factory plastic pipe there, and yeah, this little guy that's hanging on there for dear life. But yeah, that was just, I was just mucking around with it over lockdown, and I made this pipe pretty terrible. But yeah, I don't know, it's kind of what you get when you're trying to MIG stainless with mild steel filler, like most of my work. But it does the job and it doesn't leak, so not really too phased. I'll probably get rid of all this. I think the blue flexi bloody joins look heinous, but yeah, as I said, just trying to get the sound of it. Interesting side note, I recently broke a tech. I've never broken one myself. I had heard that they break quite easily, being a cheap fake wheel. But yes, I managed to get one for next to nothing. And it had a brand new tyre, which is a bonus. But yeah, that was quite interesting, which is right there. I'm sure you can see that. It's quite bloody obvious. Yeah, so that's a bit disappointing. So, like all techs I always polish them. So, yeah, I sort of whipped up a little video during the week when I did get it, because it was white. So, yeah, I always just polish them. I think they look the best polished. So I'm gonna whack that in here anyway, and then might go for a little bit of a drive. Give you some noises, some dorts. I sort of realised I don't actually have a lot of gas, so we'll just go for a little hone around the neighbourhood. I've never realised how sketchy it is trying to hold a GoPro and drive at the same time, so I'll just wind the windows up a bit. Hopefully the tints block out the haters. Oh bruv, hit it. The pie can wait. Think we're on. That was kind of weak, had to slow down. Still doing 60k area, so. If you hook a second, it sort of bogs down again and then it doesn't come way back up. The problem with these SR20VEs, because they're all auto, CVT, whatever that they have, still the CVT ECU, so the VVL, which is like the Nissan's VTEC thing, a double VTEC as people like to call it, sort of comes in at about $6 grand, I think it is, 6.5 maybe, or one comes in at 5.5. One cam comes in at 5.5, one comes in at 6. I don't know, I'm not really a wizard on these things, but sort of what it sounds like anyway. And then it limits at about 7.2 or 7.3. So you've only got this real short burst of VVL, or of where the power is, and then you've got to hook gears, you got to chop a gear again. So the solution around that is that people do sort of like a daughter board setup, which is just a chip that makes the stock ECU tunable, and then you can rev them to like 8 grand and make the bloody VVL come in a much earlier. And I think with the tune and some of the SR20VE cams, they can, I've seen a few people make like 130, 135 kilowatt. There's a guy, he'll be stoked about this, I believe his name is Jake, who has a Fujitsu intake manifold and 20V bloody cams and a bunch of other stuff, and I think his makes like 160, which is pretty good for a 4-banger 2-litre NA without forced induction, I guess you'd say. Yeah, great day for a bloody Saturday drive. Look at them all, look at the messes. Shit, anyone would think it's level 2 or something. Again, fucked. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so you sort of get the effect. I feel like an absolute hooligan driving like this. God, I feel like I'm bloody 18 again doing those kind of manoeuvres. But yeah, you get the gist. It goes all good. And it makes a noise, and it's, yeah, it's fun to muck around with. Yeah, so there you have it. Far out, that was bloody exhilarating. Something about driving an NA car like this, it's not that fast, trying to drive it fast, you just feel like a bit of a knob. But yeah, you know, I was trying to give you guys the viewing experience, if you will. Oh, g'day Jax, come here, come here. Nah, not having it. I sort of have always had this plan that at some stage I would like to plus T it, which would then make it an SR20 VET. People quite often take the heads off these and put them on the det blocks in the Silvia world. Primarily people try to go for the P12 head because they are better again, and they already have the coil on plug set up and it does away with the dizzy and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'd sort of always wanted to do some kind of mild build. I think the blocks, these VE blocks, have quite weak rods, I've been told, or maybe that's just a rumor, I'm not too sure, but I think they're not, I don't think the internals are very strong in these. But having said that, you can still, they still make like 200 kilowatt or 220 kilowatt on like 7 pound or something. Pretty crazy. Yeah, they seem to do the job quite well, but I'm not going to do any of that kind of stuff until this doesn't become the parts hauler. Not too sure when that's going to be. Hopefully once life things happen a bit more and I eventually get some kind of high ace, that is probably what the plan will be. Then this will be a real, just a tinkering car, and then yeah, probably pull the motor out, and I'd like to do, yeah, like a mild plus T build would be kind of cool. It's done hella Ks. It's done like 310,000 Ks now, I think. So yeah, but I mean, the valve stem seals leak, you know, you go on coming off gas and on vacuum, and you plant it again, big puff of blue smoke. But seems sweet. It's got heaps of compression, and it doesn't use any oil, next to nothing anyway. But yeah, so that'll probably be the future plans with it. But until then, I'm just going to keep it how it is. And then I'd like to do the tune that I talked about earlier, just a real mild NA tune, just something that's going to make it reliable. Probably, yeah, chuck a fuel pump in it. And there's a 16 VE cams, I'd say will be the most affordable. And yeah, I don't know, just be cool to have it banging off 8 grand limiter. But yeah, the one thing that I have noticed with these cars is, since I've been in the Skyline game, is that when you're trying to get parts and you're dealing with people in the community of Primaras and Pulsars, compared to say Skylines or Silvias or Laurels or Cephs or any of that kind of stuff, the community is quite vastly different. Very different. Yeah, you sort of buy parts off these guys and they're like, yeah, sure man, I'll whip down to the post office tomorrow and get it on its way and this, that and the other, and they cannot help you enough. Where people in the what do I say, maybe the RFB community particularly, it's always trying to get the most for literal pieces of shit. And I'm not saying this to everyone that's in the scene. I'm probably going to rack up a few people by saying this, but people sell literal pieces of shit. Like, you could put a piece of doo-doo on the ground and then, I don't know, cover that doo-doo with a RB20 selector fork or something, or an AFM, or I don't know, anything that's going to be going into a rear-wheel drive Nissan, and, you know, $100. Nah, I know what I got. And it's just ridiculous. And they're always, it just seems to be the way it is. So if nothing else, the community is quite a nice change of pace, I guess you could say. But yeah, whatever, I don't know. That's gonna wrap it up anyway. So if you do have any more questions, then let me know. Should be a DM on Instagram or something like that. But yeah, would like to do mild tune and a few other little bits and pieces, get it all ready to make maybe 130 kilowatts. I don't really know, but yeah. Anywho, in other news, there is possibly another car arriving soon, so that will probably be the next video. If you've been sort of seeing some stuff on the gram, you might know what it is. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but I will say one thing. It's very riveting. I'll leave you with that. Till next time. Peace.
Show me your genitals. Your genitals. Show me your genitals. Your genitals. genitals. Your genitals. Show me your genitals.